In Fallout New Vegas, there are plenty of ways to survive a bad day. You can patch up broken bones with a stimpak and call it medicine, or duct tape your gear back together with repair. But what if you couldn't do either, and the only thing keeping your organs in the correct zip code was raw emotional detachment and a refusal to acknowledge pain? Yo, Dudes and Dudettes, ThisIsKetchu, and today we'll answer the painful question: can you beat Fallout New Vegas without medicine or repair? This challenge didn't just stay dumb, it evolved. Like a Pokemon with brain damage. Stick around, because things only get worse from here. After getting an aggressive ventilation hole installed directly into my skull, I woke up in Doug Mitchell's house, a man with probably a made-up medical license. It was there Andrew III of the Third Clan was born into this world. A man so beautiful he made the ozone layer file a restraining order. The high-velocity lead lapidamir did permanent damage to my perception, intelligence, and any basic hand-eye coordination I might have had. But on the upside, it also removed any limiters to my strength. You could say I was lucky to have survived, and I would say too, if I understood the concept. I still had some charisma left, which means with my letters for brain, I was perfectly qualified to run for public office. During the Rorschach test, I gave the reanimator the most psychologically concerning answers I could muster, tagged melee weapons, speech, and unarmed as my chosen skills, and picked hot-blooded and wild wasteland as my perks. As soon as that was over, Doug tried to politely show me out. I complied, but not before vacuuming up all his prized possessions. He bribed me further at the door with a vault suit and a Pip-Boy. I switched the clothes immediately to a suit I swiped from him. M'lady. Out in the real game, I got bombarded by tons of malware in true Bethesda Fallout fashion. At the saloon, Sunny Smiles told me to meet her behind the saloon, but instead of shooting me, she tried to learn me how to shoot myself. Impressed with my skills, she said the word chase, gecko, and follow. I added it all up to free food and complied. Fine, you get away this time.
Hear that up on the ridge behind me there? We got some geckos to clear out. If we move quietly, we can get the jump on them.
I'll show you how this is done. Sneak attack! Oh wow. Yeah! We went to clear 2 more watering holes. A random good spring settler chimed in. We had such a good time. Sunny Smiles is the kind of dog mom that makes their dog their entire personality. Talking to Easy Pete revealed that the nearby schoolhouse had some spankable bugs inside. Found some magazines too, but with intelligence of 1, I can't read, so I sold them for snacks. It was also around that time I decided to ban hacking, lockpicking and pickpocketing, because those require either fine motor skills or a functioning brain, both of which my character and I lack. Back at the saloon, Joe Cobb was giving Trudy the join us or die pitch. I met Ringo. He challenged me to a game of Caravan. Even though I clearly told him I didn't know how to play, he beat me, took my money, and I sort of lost it after that. Thanks, hot-blooded. I let Cobb know Ringo has been handled, then convinced him to take over the town. I shook down the general store for supplies, and then sold those supplies back to him for profit. Aggressive capitalism. I also tried lying to Doug Michelin for free meds, but lacked the brain cells to pull it off. After that, I did a 360 and betrayed the powder gangers anyway, which meant I successfully failed 2 quests in a single smooth maneuver. Paragon route? Gone with Ringo. The Renegade route? Also gone. The only thing I'm role-playing is a diplomatic tragedy. Some people take pictures with their fish. Yeah, this is something similar. I love being the good guy. Nobody in town had any reactions to the sudden bloodbath, so I aired out my frustrations. Therapy. Somebody said something about Prim. With nothing else going on, that became my new mission. I'm using kangaroo gasoline. Near the road, I found a skeleton in a fridge and a cool hat next to it. I named him Skeletim and spent a while playing together. Oh well, you have a good night now. Blah. From there, I entered Gene skydiving. Some powder gangers followed me inside. They entered the nap dimension before I was finished with my one-liner. Rude. After performing my next successful sneak attack, my confusion got my face exfoliated. Then I studied, dissected, and taste tested the local wildlife. While trapezing over to Prim, the crazy guy with blue bottle cap energy went minesweeping on his way to trap me with unsolicited conversation. All according to Cake. Shortly after, I tried using a corpse as a riot shield in a Stroganoff with the local convict community. It either sort of worked, or the guy was being very polite. Inside the hotel, everything felt easy. Suspiciously easy. Turns out the game was on very easy for whatever reason. I cranked that nonsense up to normal without a second thought. I'm not sure what happened, but the convict started running from me. Not sure if it was the hockey mask or the fact that I hadn't blinked in 15 minutes. Deputy Pico gave me a hot tip on the man who turned my skull into a donut, so I set him free. Then immediately threatened him into helping me clear the rest of the hotel. Shockingly, he agreed. Less shockingly, he died. When I told Mr. Nash their deputy became floor decor, he told me I had the honor of finding them a new lawman. The level of audacity of him assuming I will help them with this too. Especially after I just janitored the hotel of all the trash lads. I didn't notice his entitled attitude and agreed. I guess I was just in a really good mood at the time. Before marching into the correctional facility, I consulted the brain council. Should we give the badge to NCR or help a guy named Mayers to become the law? The voices unanimously voted for Mayers. Democracy at its finest. Upon entering, the butt pirates committed such a violent crime against my body that my game tapped out. This is what I get for trying to help. Behold my stream background. Isn't it wonderful? Round 2 began with explosives and vengeance. Learned from past timelines, I made sure Sheriff Mayer survived the incident. All went according to cake, which is better than plan. Except Mayers had a terminal case of Stockholm Syndrome and he attacked me. Escaping outside didn't help. He chased me like a poodle in heat. In the end, I had to put him down in self-defense. But no worries, like a morally grey dog that had an accident, I did my best to hide the evidence. Also, Dawson had 2 heads for some reason. Still unclear where he kept the spare.
Yep. Nobody can tell what happened here. Good work, I'd say.
NCR it is then. To get their help, I have to hike all the way to Mojave Outpost and politely beg for backup. On the way, I stopped to play with a merry-go-round, you know, side quests. My impromptu photo shoot at a patrol station got rudely interrupted by bullets. I responded by turning the idiots responsible into mulch. Inside, more of the terrible haircut gang ruminated. Nobody escaped. Found a cell full of mantises. Naturally, I tried inventing a new move called Sledge Tornado. After reducing the prison bugs into soup, I tried to sleep off my injuries. But one or several mantises were hiding behind a locked door, whispering threats. Which was bad news because lockpicking was not an option. No hand-eye coordination, remember? I also couldn't blast the little poop stains through the walls or the door. At the Nipton Road rest stop, a rat scorpion snuck up behind me and startled the ever-living idiot out of me. I grilled every tailed spider nearby. Harvesting their poison glands reminded me of Ruby Scorpion lasagna that fights back. But the stupid beep refused to fork it over. After that, I took a detour toward Nipton and fire blasted a troop of ants for funs and giggles. A nearby group of jackasses tried to gatekeep a mattress, and they did a very good job at dishing out pain at varying flavors. I got hurt so bad I started munching on butts for both health and vengeance. On the final stretch to Nipton, Thomas sprinted at me, blabbing something about blue bottle caps. Naturally, I milked him for every last drop of dialogical experience, then grilled him for some diabolical experience. Moments later, Oliver Svanik assaulted me verbally, screeching about winning some lottery. Despite the fact that nobody asked and even fewer people cared, I kept it short. I didn't like the look of his glasses on my face. Boxcars ran his mouth pretty well for someone claiming to have broken legs, and his legs weren't far behind. I took some time to admire the local decor. Heads on spikes, crucifixions, the usual. The event was hosted by Vulpix Inept and his traveling fascist cosplay club.
Your crimes are unforgivable. That's right, I am a good guy.
As are all crimes. If you feel strongly about it, attack us, and soon you won't feel a thing.
Turns out he was right. I felt nothing, and he even tasted like sandpaper. I did use his corpse as a trash bag, though, which is more than he ever contributed as an alive person. Finally made it to the Mojave Outpost, where the people outside ran from me on sight, which made me wonder if it was the smell or something. Inside, I flirted with Major Knight like my rent depended on it. Got the prim backup I needed, scooped up a side quest from Jackson, gave Ranger Ghost a lit Yelp review on Nipton, and stole all 2 binoculars I could find. Naturally, I used them to see if Ghost had nose hair.
What do you think you're doing?
Next, I pulled a cold 360 death from above surprise attack on the quest ants, cleansed them without batting an eye, and then avoided picking up the reward from Jackson because I was constantly 1 meal away from being over-encumbered. Back in Nipton, I investigated a house with cage bark scorpions. The place was booby-trapped up the butt, and I walked into every single one of them. Something released the scorpions and I screamed on the table while shotgunning them down. This one I triggered on purpose. This one I didn't. The game crashed again as I tried to enter the town hall. Then a legion of dogs attempted to share me between the pack. I repelled them using chili sausages. On the road to Novak, I tried to bully a goat for sport, but got ambushed by some vipers. After I took care of them, I noticed that the difficulty went down again on its own. Must be because of the crash, I think. I will now check it every time after starting the game. Trust issues acquired. Then the Legion's assassins rolled up. They drained most of my food stash and my boomsticks. I had 4 dynamites left when I realized they weren't even working. Retreating towards Nipton and circling back got me into a one-on-one against the melee guy. A lucky crit made him drop his weapon. I snagged it as soon as I could and used it to bash his skull in. I barely survived that one. After a rest stop back in Nipton, I was back on track. The rest of the assassins didn't recognize me wearing their friend like a cosplay. They never saw it coming when I cracked them open like piñatas with bad opinions. The legionaries might be losers, but I do like their fashion sense. Further down the road, I watched a wandering trader and his crew turn a squad of legionaries into dumpster filler. I didn't help, but I did scavenge the remains like a socially anxious vulture. Somehow, despite wearing their robes, nobody suspected I was part of the cult. After that, I got into a scuffle with some rodents and vipers. A rat's head rolled so far off the scene, I had to pause and appreciate the amount of raw physics engine gymnastics it must have endured. Near some NCR outpost, a ranger took offense to my cosplay and opened fire. Since I hadn't brained out who to side with yet, I lured a passing Legion soldier into the situation and let natural selection handle the paperwork. The fight didn't last long. I changed into something less assassination-y. The ranger remained relentlessly hostile. I'm sure he tried relenting before, it just didn't stick. Right before Novak, a cute couple of vipers exploded my arm, health, and most of my groceries. While escaping, I stopped for an impromptu marksmanship showcase. Lured the viper still on my tail to the dinosaur, took aim, and missed every shot. Then she just collapsed, possibly from stress, possibly from bad riding. Heart attack? I didn't hit her, it's tearing me apart. In Novak, I rented a room from Genie, blurted the next quest marker out of Manny, lured Genie in front of the dinosaur to speedrun her expiration date. Now I get to keep the room. Dug up the key to justification from her corpse. Boone saw all this and still agreed to join me, and then I got turned to wet base by Legion's assassins. Round 2 was spent dancing around a nearby rock while screaming. After Boone absorbed too many consequences of my actions, I used dynamite a little too close to him. He survived anyway, and just like that, my heart unpulped itself. By the way, Private Kowalski is a freaking machine. After pissing him off, I led him through the ant field and he cleared it all up, enduring fire with the power of his rage. Next, I had him square off against some Pokemon. They hit him with bubble beams. I'm not sure he noticed. Near Vegas, he casually dismantled another ant colony and deleted a squad of vipers as a bonus. Man's a stubborn menace. He wants to file a complaint. I want to file a restraining order. Eventually I got bored of cardio and fast traveled back to Boulder City. Defused the hostage situation using 100% certified speechcraft. Told Monroe to let the guns go.
The great guns were nice. You have to be nice too.
You're right.
Leveled up to 8, maxed out speech, started barter, and took terrifying presents because it sounded funny. Before leaving, I left Kowalski something beautiful to look at when he inevitably returns to stare at the memorial again. On the road to Vegas, I broke into a random house. Not for loot, just to stare at sleeping strangers and breathe heavily. Roleplay. I wonder if that'll hold up in court. In Freeside, breakfast came running at me. Life is full of small blessings. Saw a child holding a toy gun I desperately wanted. Tried to negotiate, but I didn't have enough neurons to make that deal happen, which just reinforced the decision, barter must go up. If I can't con kids out of their toys, what even is my character arc? From there, I passed the strip's credit check, ate the display victim, and then my game crashed. Where, beyond the gate, Victor ambushed me like a pop-up. I stopped some guy's puke session with my body. I have to try that in real life too. Inside the tubs, I lured Chandler Ping to his hotel room. Alone. Romantic. Intimate. Then I scared him so bad he decided violence was the better option. And so I pulled out my dullest knife. the one with a bonus to critical damage, so you know it hurts, but not too much. You don't want it to be over too fast. I straight up razored him out of existence. When teaching a bad guy a lesson, you gotta be thorough. I love being the good guy. Back downstairs, I tried my hand at roulette and blackjack. Didn't know how to play either, so I broke even, gave up, and left feeling spiritually wealthy. Unfortunately, Benny's safe was locked, which is probably where the main quest clue lives, and lockpicking might as well be wizardry at this point. I figured it was time to go find a less locked employer. As I was reaching into the void between my ears, planning my next move, Kowalski finally caught up. I profusely apologized for my disrespect, and he accepted like a true hero. He won't be happy once he finds out what I did to the memorial while he was gone. For a moment, I planned on settling with Mr. House's romance route, first time for everything, but his ticket machine didn't allow me to take my buddy Boone with me, so I chose the NCR instead. Petty? Yes. Empowering? Also yes. I returned to Good Neighbor because I finally remembered to have my addiction and radiation poisoning fixed through the power of prayer. Science, peep! On my way to recruit the boomers, Boone proved his competence by missing shots on a scorpion that was technically standing still. At the exciting sprinting track, I sent George running into the mortar field for science, trying to confirm his fate. In hindsight, might have been a bit silly. Don't worry, I did it again. For science squared! Then I crossed the field myself. The guy at the gate was very shy. Pearl, their leader, was even worse. Paranoia is a family heirloom here. The voices filling the void in my head voted yes to helping the boomers. First job, clear out an underground ant infestation by blasting dubstep near the nests. I get it. If someone did that in my bedroom, I'd book the express ticket to the seaside too. Hardest part? Getting lost. Which was so unlikely I impressed myself. Next, the medic quest had a paywall. Medicine. Out of the question. To recharge, I spaced out in the museum, played matchmaker for 2 goblins, then failed to fix solar arrays, because repair. So I started feeding Jack a diet of spare parts, hoping to up my reputation with the boomers and earn them into an alliance. I'm getting good at this diplomacy thing. To find more parts, I raided some office buildings, which felt productive but wasn't. Then I kicked over a garden gnome to calm my raging heart, and turned a house full of powdergangers into a meal. They really shouldn't have left the back door unlocked. Next up, Atomic Wrangler. Inside, after playing with the stage mic, I hunted for Brother Garrett for a job about fish dough, thinking it would lead to a robot factory full of scrap metal. I checked his office, I checked the back rooms. The guards checked me, and unfortunately, I was the problem. Only Sister Garrett was in, and instead of robots, she handed me a list of people who owed her money. Now that I can do, I was practically born for it. I found Greg's and verbally deconstructed his self-esteem until he was out of cash. Oh. For not hurting Santiago, I'm pretty proud. Lady Jane told me where her caravan went so I could legally collect her debt, but I exercised my right to be problematic and Lady killed her out of it instead. Efficiency. Then I invaded the Hell Pit for the missing caps anyway, just to see what was in there. After shredded by the Skavens, I found the caps, and a Rat Slayer unique rifle. Good call, Brain Council. Also, I still can't hit the broadside of your mother. Free side is the best. I love free rations. No consequences, only a mild threat of rabies. What's not to love? Back in the Wrangler, I finally found Brother Garrett and got the Fisto mission. Unfortunately, my brain ran Windows Vista during Ralph's directions and nothing saved to disk. Outside, I paused to admire the analog pop-ups. The advertisers had to be extra obnoxious to achieve the same effect in real life. Then I hit up every trader I could remember for spare parts and raided H&H Tools Factory looking for more.
This is like a speed test. Check this out. Yep. What? Yeah! Death from above. How about you? What? Yeah, more scrap metal. What? I need to stop sometimes and pay attention.
After stuffing Jack like a vending machine with every piece of scrap metal I had, I decided to take a casual detour to Cottonwood Cove. The goal? Free the interns. The result? I got jump scared by a pack of inbred chihuahuas with snake DNA, which was about as fun as it sounds. My first attempt to touch base with the Legion failed because Boone went full Yosemite Sam on site. Naturally, the negotiations fell a bit short, so I put Boone on a timeout at the sniper's nest. Now, despite already having Kaesa's loyalty sticker, I still lied my way in. For that sweet, succulent bonus XP. Why be honest when you can be rewarded for lying? The only thing between freedom and the involuntary workers was one stupid expert luck. No matter how much I snooped, I couldn't find the key. Naturally, I couldn't keep my fingers in check. I got caught.
There you are!
door!
and a group-wide hostility event got triggered. After a forced reload, I turned the guy chasing me into a decorative welcome mat. Somehow, nobody else stayed mad, so I went right back to stealing like nothing happened. Just outside the Scorpion Gang hideout, I did what people call catch and release. You know the thing when people start putting names on their food at the office. I just ate a meal named Yvette. Inside the hideout, I scored a decent haul of scrap parts, crammed them into Jack's digestive slot, and finally, Pearl opened up about the last stage of Boomer Loyalty Program, a mandatory reverse submarine retrieval mission. But first, I had to listen to Jack tell me how happy he was for the 100th time. For a rebreather, I had started dissociating by the second time he said it. I do have one complaint about the plane fishing mission. Steam's TOS says intrusive ads aren't allowed in games. According to Mr. Killian, O2 is a telephone company. I don't think this ad could be any more on the nose if it's right. Shameful. Looking for the ballast launch site, my trigger made the mine activation sound, which kind of triggered me instead. Anyway, I got the boomers on board with the bomber and reported back to Crocker, who immediately sent me to babysit the Kings and stop them from punching NCR citizens. So naturally, I opened negotiation with a terrible joke and got a mission from the king. I hired Oris as a bodyguard to investigate his business model. Spoiler, it's less of a security service and more of a community theater troupe. He hires his friends to fake a mug-in, shoots them with planks, and they play dead like it's improv night at the gun range. Unfortunately, Boone missed the memo and helped one of them to star in an obituary. I got suspicious when I tried to snack on a corpse, and it wasn't properly tenderized or seasoned with trauma. So I gave it a test bunk with a hammer, and that's when Aris got mad. Shockingly, my stylish suit did absolutely nothing to block bullets. After a careful scuffle and a quick bite of canned idiot, I swapped to his metal wrappings in hopes of not having to absorb bullets with my skin anymore. And that was about as exciting as it's going to get with the Kings. I spent most of my time running diplomatic circles between them and the NCR, trying to sound like Elvis while doing it.
But just remember that the password is hope.
That's what Bulma wrote into the time machine.
Midway through the Elvis Olympics, some guy lured me into an alley and introduced me to a corpse. Naturally, I took a bite. He didn't even flinch, but he still had the nerve to pick a fight. Not too bright, no. Meet Pacer. He's the reason everyone's mad. This is him now, getting shot by the NCR. I tried to intercept, but turns out, catching a bullet with your face is harder than it looks. Instead, words became my riot shield. The Kings rewarded me with a free meal and promised to behave. I leveled up, bulked up water, and grabbed Ghastly Scavenger. I needed some variety in my diet. I never got to use this perk, by the way. Soon after, I tried reporting back to the ambassador, but he was MIA, so I sat in his chair until 4 PM, still no sign. Turns out he was still in his bed, probably sulking because someone was sitting in his favorite chair. Eventually, he dragged himself out of his depression puddle. Next up was Hoover Dawn. This dog crashed my game, which I took as a warm welcome. I talked to Colonel Moore, saluted back at her like a doofus, thankfully, I don't have a face cam, and got sent to reason with the Great Khans. On the way, a murder of fire geckos almost turned me into a microwave dinner. Then I oopsie quicksaved behind a rock near Bonnie Springs, where my confidence got stuck and my arm fell off. Aiming was already more of a polite suggestion than a skill set. Missing limbs didn't help. Luckily, explosives are a universal language, and I speak it fluently. To prevent such situations from happening further down the future, I slapped armor onto my gun and called it a plan. Sometime later, a pack of goats started screaming at me. I would have ignored them, but they interrupted my monologue. Unforgivable! I may have forgotten that I was trying to be a good guy this run, and asked the voices in my head what to do about the Khans. So I did what any emotionally repressed desert cryptid would do. I got a sick selfie to honor the moment. Sometimes emotional growth is just documenting bad decisions with confidence. Back at Hoover Darn, the same dog crashed my game again. Moore sent me to investigate the Ometas next. At Freeside, I bought the gun I'd been dreaming about. Turns out I had double the powder needed.
What do you need?
I didn't talk to you. Idiot, and nobody cares. Good. I'm stealing his suit, by the way.
While subtly investigating the Ometas, the Brain Council reminded me I could reset Boone by reloading a cell. God wasn't happy about my crimes against humanity and stacked the gods against me. Deeper in the casino, a couple of locked doors stopped me from going all in on folding the Ometas from existence. Luckily, I could just lie to advance the quest anyway. Oh, and the door didn't crash my game this time. Probably because I dropped the magazine downstairs. I'm becoming stupid-stitious. Because I needed to dismantle a ticket machine, I turned the outside of Lucky 38 into a battle royale, dealt with guards inside without much of a problem, taunted Mr. House, tenderized him slowly so we could really bond, snapped another photo for the scrapbook, and celebrated with a helping of expired canned meat that had aged horribly. On the way to the Brotherhood of Steel, I finished a few meals left behind by some scorpions. Tisk tisk. Then I found myself in a charming little place called the Scorpion College. You might not want to believe this, but there were a lot of scorpions in there. When I finally reached the Brotherhood, they asked me to strip. Naturally, I refused. Hiding behind terrain didn't help. Trying to charm my way in with saucy sleepwear failed. I don't get them. Playing with the door that locks behind you got me in a stalemate and soft-locked the game. Eventually, I gave up, stripped down like a disgraced action figure, and got welcomed with free exploding color and unpaid labor. Chores? In this economy, my self-imposed quest for the green card into the bunker got interrupted by 4 deathclaws who all had the same hobby, ruining my life. I used Veronica to jimmy the door open, ditched the skeleton key, towed Boone back in like a defective shopping cart, and started vaporizing the entire Brotherhood on orders from the voices in my head. Looking back now, I'm not sure if it would have been faster to work with them than trying to turn them into decorative smears. Those turrets were the real boss fight, by the way. They hurt like heck. I even went out and burned through a whole lot of my cabs to get more explosives and other supplies, just to dismantle the OP bullcrap tower defense. The rest of the vault wasn't anything too difficult. My biggest hurdle was finding the self-destruct console that was hidden in plain sight right next to the related password reset machine.
Oh. Oh. Yes, let's go. Bye-bye.
Back outside, Boone held back the leftovers, while I made my heroic escape. Next, the president dropped by. He did a magic trick on stage. While the general briefed us on the endgame, I fused with Boone for a while. Everything was going fine, until the Legion attacked. Apparently, the first battle went so poorly that the NCR decided I was the real enemy. Fun. After a deeply personal reload, I started using VATS to prevent any accidental friendly fire. Did you know VATS is pretty OP? I should have been using it all this time. I've been going unassisted for hours like a moron, free-balling it full of confidence, like some kind of anti-technology purist. No VATS, no brain. Huh, that checks out actually. Boom. Role-playing.
Retribution! Nom nom nom. Aren't you guys glad you hired me? Yeah!
The longer I played, the more frequent the crashes were getting. I think it's just my karma score trying to file a complaint. Well, it still wasn't a cakewalk. With agility of 1, I didn't exactly get to turn the game into a turn-based one. After pushing through every turd inside the guts of Hoover Dawn, we started bulldozing towards the enemy camp on the top side. The boomers showed up with their bomber, and carpet bombed my enemies like a team of airborne grandmothers throwing casseroles from heaven. This whole endgame part would have probably been easier if I didn't insist on playing with the incinerator so much.
Oh, that's Boone. Do not eat Boone.
I seduced the veteran rangers to help me clearing the second half of the Dawn. They kicked so much butt I basically third-wheeled my own hero's journey.
Wow!
In a desperate search for more damage, I started swapping super sledges for thermic lances, except I had no idea how to use them. Fortunately, VATS showed me the stabby end tutorial.
So this is how it works.
Of course, the veteran rangers refused to follow me into the legate's camp, because God forbid I get help in the final battle. The first Praetorian guard went down easy enough, but then we got a 2-pack, and things went from mildly dangerous to ritual sacrifice.
Yo, this is not... I've had enough. I've had enough. I am done. Please.
I climbed on some rock for safety and spectated in horror as one of them transcended their humanity mid-fight, but once I mastered the cattle prod, I used its reach to zap their will to live right out of their bodies. After that, all that was left was enjoying the show between the legate and an NCR ranger, like a schoolyard slap fight but with some more political consequences. Then I sweet-talked the legate out of attacking the NCR, wagged my finger at him like an angry substitute teacher, and somehow convinced him to go home and rethink his life. To end things in style, I proudly laid my toys on the ground to show my collection to the general, then met him while wearing the ex-president's clothes. And I beat Fallout New Vegas without using repair, medicine, pickpocketing, lockpicking or hacking, so basically without a brain. That's it for this time, folks. Do the engagement things to help me out. Tell me in the comments what I could have done better, or if you have other challenges / games for me to play. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Take care now. Bye bye then. Have a wonderful day.